It's Trial Tuesdays, and we're talking business dealings with the one and only David Aylor. David, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good to have you here. So we're talking business dealings, specifically with car dealerships. Now, a lot of times, everything goes great. You do what you got to do, you get your car, everything's fine. There's sometimes maybe it doesn't go so great. Give me a good example of something that maybe has happened to some of our viewers and what they should do.
Well, a lot of times when people get there, obviously they're pretty excited if they know they're going to buy a car.
Right.
We're coming up on tax season, which means obviously the first part is paying, but the second part is getting that tax refund. So it's a really popular time to buy cars. So when you're buying that car, you know, you're gonna be talking fast. They're going to be talking back to you fast. But what you got to make sure you do is that everything that you do and everything that you hear and everything that is said is actually on paper. When you're doing that purchase agreement, it's so important to understand that what you're buying is on that piece of paper, because what the dealer may say, you know, may not get transferred to that paperwork.
But let's say that they, like you just said, they tell you something and it doesn't quite happen, but they say, well, what's going to happen is you buy the car today, we're going to make sure all of that's taken care of. You can drive the car away, and in a couple weeks, we'll get back with you, you know, we'll get our schedules together, bring the car back, and you get the service done.
My advice would be do not take that car
Never
off the
do
lot.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely not. You know, unless they have the paperwork to show you exactly what's going to be done. There's so much times in these situations you're just, you know, it's human nature to be excited about the new car, you know, new for you, whether it's a used car or a brand new car. And you just go ahead and take it and kind of take their word for it. A couple weeks go by, things still aren't done, and you don't have anything to fall back on. At the very minimum, if it's a car that they're going to do some things to, maybe perhaps they'll give you a loaner car, but leave the actual car that you're buying.
Yeah. What's your advice to consumers out there possibly buying a car? Like you said, everybody's getting excited about doing it, tax season coming around. What are some of the things that we should look out for to make sure that we don't become a victim?
Well, I would always try to check the reputations of the car dealerships that you go to. You know, if they're smaller dealerships, you know, check around and say, you know, are there a lot of customers that you deal with in the area? Can you give me some referrals, that sort of thing. You know, people shouldn't have a problem doing that. If they're, you know, a bigger dealership, then obviously they're probably going to have a reputation for that, and they're going to have tons of people that they can refer you to. Also, you want to know how long has that specific dealer been there himself or herself. You know, maybe the dealership's been there a long time, but the person working for them may not have been in the area too long. So those are kind of certain things you can look for.
Well, what should you do if maybe you feel like you were wronged in any way? Should you maybe save all the, if there were any emails, if there was any text messages or anything like that, save those and give them to your lawyer? What should you do?
Yeah, right. You could always, you know, obviously you want to try to keep any kind of communications you have. But first, before going to any lawyer and bring anything like that, I think I would try to, you know, speak with someone higher up within the dealership.
Right.
A lot of times these dealerships, you know, they work off reputation. So if there was a mistake made by, you know, someone who was maybe on the lot floor, that sort of thing, then somebody higher up within the company may try to make it right for you.
What if that person, let's say they don't work there anymore? Then what do you do? Like the person that you dealt with, let's say you go back and all of a sudden so-and-so doesn't work here anymore.
Well, then you're probably going to have a pretty tough situation depending on what was actually promised that's on paper. You have to do your due diligence as well, you know, to the degree that no matter what the salesperson may or may not have promised you to get that sale, you got to make sure that's followed up on the actual paperwork of the dealership and not just through that salesperson.
All right, well, there you go. He's David Aylor giving us legal advice that we can all use. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, we're back with more Low Country Live coming up after this break. Stay with us.